Hey guys, welcome to class today. What we're going to be working on today in our class is workshop number 1 and part of our Invisible Hand project. Who answers the call is that big question that we're looking at. So our objective today is to answer basically who, and that's what we're going to look at. So we're going to say students will be able to answer and describe who answers the following questions in each economy: what to produce, how to produce, and how much to produce. And all of those are going to be an essential part of this Invisible Hand project. Our standards today include Economic Standard 1.7, describe and compare the various economic systems, and Economic Standard 2.2, recognize that consumers ultimately determine what is produced in a market economy. To start, a little bit of review, the types of economies, the 4 basic economic models. Here they are, in grand form, right? So when we talk about traditional economy, we're talking about subsistence living based on culture and belief. We're not talking the use of technology. We're not talking about a lot of advancements, but we're talking basically what it is that they've been doing for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Our command economy is a little bit different. Our command economy is based on complete government control. So the government makes all of these decisions. Our market economy is an economy that relies solely upon the market to make the decisions that are needed. They're also hypothetical. They don't exist. Somebody's always going to try to get involved. Last but not least, we see the mixed economies, which is a blend of some government involvement, some market involvement, and we kind of let both the government and market make some decisions. Got a couple questions coming up next. You guys have to answer these to go on. You only have 2 tries. So back to our objective today, who really answers those calls? What to produce, how to produce, and how much to produce. The traditional economy, what to produce, is customs and beliefs. The way that things have been done for hundreds of years are the way that things are going to continue. We're going to produce the same things that we have produced for hundreds of years. It's not an economy that they're looking to grow rapidly. The how to produce, well, again, customs and beliefs. So we're going to use the same traditional methods that we've used for hundreds of years, the same ways. We're not going to change things up. Traditional economy is not about change, right? And how much to produce, that's the last little bit. We're going to make just enough to survive, maybe make a few trades with our neighbors. I'll trade you this goat for this chicken, or whatever it might be. And what we can see with that is we see that it's not a profit-driven economy, but it's an economy where we're struggling to survive and we're trying to live. So we're avoiding things like profit, technology, phones, etc. And in exchange, what we're doing is we're making sure that we can survive. A great example would be the Inuit communities in northern Alaska. You know, they are still working subsistence farming, living, fishing, you know, all the time, and they're not out there trying to make a ton of money. Command economy is a little bit different. So what to produce in the command economy comes directly from the government or central authority. I love thinking Kurt Vonnegut in these situations. In some of his books where he talks about this utopian future and how all of this stuff turns into that. And I'm thinking Player Piano in particular right now is that, you know, everyone is kind of characterized as, you know, are you a laborer or are you a thinker? And you go from there. And the command economy is much like that. Command economy is going to make those decisions. The government's going to decide what the people produce. The government and central authority is also going to decide what and how we produce it. So in this situation, the government controls all sources of production. How much to produce, that's also going to come from the government. Doesn't matter if it's for a profit or for a loss, the government's taking the control of it. And that's what you really kind of see with that command economy. The government makes all decisions in the economy. Usually a command economy is associated with a dictator or a totalitarian style of government because that's what the people won't put up with. Market economy, again, does not exist, and I want to make sure that we simply kind of state that because it does look like the best one, right? The markets make all decisions. Supply always equals demand. There's no leftover, nothing. We make the exact amount that people are going to require. And it's the same thing. So what to produce, the market decides. What do people need? How to produce? Well, the market decides. You're going to go for the cheapest method, right? Because we're not going to spend a lot of money doing that. And how much to produce? Well, since the government makes all the other decisions, the market makes all the other decisions, the market's also going to make this decision as well. So supply is always going to equal demand. Again, this does not exist. The last type is the mixed economy, so what to produce. The markets and the government decide this in combination. Some things might be done. In the United States, for instance, the government subsidizes the price of milk. We see subsidies put in place where the government says it's important that milk does not exceed, $4 a gallon. And in exchange, what we'll do is if the farmer's cost is $5 a gallon, we'll give the farmer $1 from the government for every gallon of milk they produce. And that's basically what you see. All right, how to produce? Well, the government controls some aspects of it, but not all. For instance, the government decides, how we're going to produce this. They put these regulations in that we can't pollute, we can't do these different things that we typically might want to look at and might want to do. So it's really important that the government does do kind of some of that control for us to keep our environment safe, to keep our food healthy, right? The USDA, a lot of those square deal programs from the 1900s and Teddy Roosevelt, the Progressive Era, etc. What you're seeing with that is you're seeing a lot of that become into play here where, all of a sudden it's not acceptable for people to have parts of human flesh in their hamburger, right? So just kind of throwing that out there. All right, so the government decides how to do it safely. And last but not least, the markets and the government decide that as well. The government intervenes at times. So the government may say we need to produce X amount of soybeans this year, and then the farmers have to meet that demand. All right, we may also need to produce cars, that at this rate, whatever it might be, the government makes these decisions, and that's the important part. But basically, the point of this whole thing was to show you guys who makes these decisions, and hopefully you guys were taking those Cornell notes along the way, right? It's part of the benefit of having the video. I got a couple questions for you coming up next. I'd like you guys to answer again 2 attempts, and you guys get 2 attempts on it. But after that, you guys are good to go and look at project learning log number 1. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. As a reminder, please check the collaboration space to fill out our no's, our needs, and our known lists, our K and K. All right, and also please look at the project learning log number 1 in your OneNote, and that'll give you directions on how to answer that there, and make sure that that's all taken care of. As always, this is not my theme, not my slide. Any photographs or presentation template comes from these companies here. And last but not least, some icons for you.